ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I don't think I'll need this. I may keep it handy. Thank you very, very much. Chairman. Thank you all. Jerry, thank you. Thank you, Jerry, and at the outset, let me congratulate you on your leadership. What a record. No hits, no runs, no errors. As head of the Correspondents Association, this guy left no footprints. Congratulations also to Johanna Newman, the incoming president. Come by sometime. And I'll tell you how nifty, how swell, gosh, what fun it is to be president. And there's one major difference, though. Johanna can blame her failures on her predecessor. You know, in the TV debates, they kept asking Dan Quayle about the first thing he'd do as president. Cheer up, Dan. They're still asking me that same question. Now, I haven't, and it's only been 100 days. No, but it's tough because I haven't watched much TV, but I understand Oprah lost a ton of weight. Phil wore a skirt. Geraldo got his nose busted. Morton Downey lost out to the skinheads. And now you wonder why I'm not making any news. But never mind. Never make news my eye. I'll give you a scoop tonight. My first nominee to the Supreme Court, John Tower. What we need is a little justice. I didn't like what Jerry said, complaining about the schedule. Here it keeps you working until late. You're not getting enough sleep. That's the first time that I have ever been accused of keeping anybody awake. Remember what Leslie Stahl said to me just the other day, asking me if I was moving too cautiously. I said, can I get back to you on that? And then we have had a number of you up to the family quarters. Jerry Boyd, just in case it ever needs to come up, we do have pictures of you bouncing on Abraham Lincoln's bed. And speaking of the Times, our daughter is a guest at their table, and I don't want to embarrass her, but did you hear the one about their last editorial?
Please don't go into that.
Well, all right, forget about it. No need to bring that up. Anything to protect my daughter. No, and there's no need to bring that up. This is a night for kindness and conciliation. Speaking of which, I thought I saw Newt Gingrich when I came in. I'm not sure. He is the only guy whose car has a dashboard statue of Frank Lorenzo. And then there's Jim Baker. Didn't make it tonight, by camping companion. You all think of him as Secretary of the Treasury or Secretary of State. Well, I was camping with him. I think of him as an environmentalist. In fact, he will best be remembered for the Wilderness Act. That's the act that he was caught committing in the wilderness. And now, I'm told that I ought to brace myself because our great entertainer, the wonderful Jim Morris, is here tonight. And I get the feeling from having a little talk with him earlier that he's about to snuff out some of those 1,000 points of light. But no, I've seen his stuff. I've seen his impression of me. Frankly, I can't make head or tail out of it. His syntax is all twisted. Look, it shouldn't be too hard, though, for you, Jim, to upstage me. Last week, or a couple of weeks ago, I was upstaged by a wig. And I'll tell you one thing about Barbara. Ever since she drank that radioactive iodine, she's been doubling as a nightlight in the upstairs there. But her new nickname is the 3 Mile Island Fox. Now, she's doing great. Her health is good. USA Today points out how popular she is. It doesn't bother me. You know, I don't mind when Helen Thomas at the end of a press conference gets up and says, "Thank you, Barbara's husband." And our dogs are getting a lot of ink. I heard Jerry refer to them. All the good press may be going to Millie's head, however. Today we put out her bowl of Alpo. She asked to see the wine list. But now last week, you reported in the papers how I took a little girl from Pennsylvania out of, or I think it was Maine, out of the White House tour line to show her the puppies. Well, this morning I did it again. And this is true. This time with a kid from California. And it gave me an idea. Why not let someone who we pulled out of the line, just your basic average American tourist, tell you what he thinks of the presidency? Son, can you come out here and talk to these people? You want to use this thing? Shall I sit down?